Alright guys, let's talk about the color burn blend mode. So this is our first blending mode that's within our special 8 group of blending modes. Now what that means, it's going to look different whether you use your opacity versus fill. So we'll show you guys how that works in just a minute. Now color burn is going to be a little bit darker than multiply. Not only that, but our midtones and our shadows are going to be more saturated. So if you really want to put color into your midtones and shadows, then color burn is a really great blending mode. Now you're also going to have reduced visibility of your highlights as compared to multiply as well. So really this is for putting color into those midtones and shadows. So let's go ahead and show you guys how it works. So let's open up, we're in our sample images, chapter 3, and you'll notice there's a little asterisk next to color burn, and that's telling us that it's in the special 8 group. So all of these layers that have a little asterisk next to them, there we go, you can see them here, those are in the special 8, which means they react differently whether you use opacity and fill. So let's go ahead and open this up, our color burn blend mode. I'm going to hit open here, and we're going to hit F for full screen. So in this case, I really like what we've got going on. We've got these really nice blossoms here, and I think this is an image that could use just a little, maybe some magenta into the midtones and the shadows. So let's go ahead and grab our adjustment layer. I'm going to go to solid color, and I'm going to choose a nice, like, deep magenta, something like this to start with. Now, you can always change this color at any time. Super easy to do. So let's go ahead and change our blend mode from normal. We're going to go right down to color burn. There we go, and you're going to see, let's just compare that with multiply for a second, and you're going to see it really does a lot of blending, and we got super deep saturated shadows, and we have reduced visibility on our highlights. Color burn is one of those layers that you most of the time do not want to use at 100% visibility because it looks like this. So let's go ahead and bring our opacity down. I'm going to bring the opacity down to 20%, okay, and see how that looks. Now, let's make, just to show you guys how this works, I'm going to make a new layer and then just make a copy of it for opacity 20%. And then let's make this other layer. Here we go. I'm going to make this fill of 20%. So we'll just show you the difference because this is in that special 8 group. So here's what it looks like with the opacity at 20%. Okay, let's just zoom in so we can see the shadows. And here's how we look at a fill of 20%. So you can see it's a totally different effect. Okay, so opacity at 20%. And fill at 20%. The way that I use the color burn blend mode is by lowering the fill. So we can see here that, in my opinion, opacity versus fill just looks a little bit more interesting and it looks like a little bit more useful. So again, we don't want to use this at 100%, but you can simply click and drag and lower the fill of this layer, and you can see we have reduced visibility in the highlights, we have saturated colors there in the shadows. So it works really well. Now keep in mind your keyboard shortcuts. You can use 1 through 0 to change your opacity. First you want to be on your move tool, remember? So hit V for your move tool, and 1 through 0 is going to change your opacity of a layer, okay? And then shift 1 through 0 is going to change your fill. So if I hit shift 2, now I have a fill of 20% on my color burn layer. And I think that gives us a really nice effect there in our shadows. We have a really nice kind of magenta coloring in the shadows, which I think works really well with the background color and our flower color. So to recap it, color burn is going to have reduced visibility of your highlights, meaning they're not going to be visible. It's going to add more saturation, more color into your midtones and shadows, and it's going to be even darker than multiply. Not to mention special 8 blending mode, so different effect whether you're using opacity and fill.